Hey y'all, Christian Styles back for another video, and I'm sorry. I have the giggles this morning. I'm so sorry. Um, Gosh, I might have to do my intro over. That was just, it's not okay. Listen, guys. Listen. Okay, I'm in the Escalade right now, guys. So listen. I don't know how I'm able to do what I do, but y'all better start calling me Annalise Keaton, because, man, when I tell you, I don't know if I was a defense attorney in my previous life. I don't know what I was. I swear to God, I'm Annalise Keating with a little bit of Olivia Pope. Now, listen, so a couple days ago, it is the 21st, I think. Hold on, don't quote me, guys. 21st, Sunday, December 21st. And this happened on the 18th. Now, I'm a little bit late. Not a little bit late. 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm 4 days late, guys. So basically, the state attorney for this case has decided that the pre-trial release conditions, which was as follows. Actually, I'm going to read it for you guys. I think I'm going to actually post it in the video as well so you guys can see it for yourselves. Where is it? So the pre-trial, I don't know if you guys can see that. Release conditions are here. This is also available online, you guys. So this, like, you guys can also see this. It's public record. And basically what this says is that there is a no contact order, you know. But you know what was funny? My ex-wife is the only one that was listed. Which didn't make sense to me from the jump, that she was the only person that was listed, because wouldn't her sister have been listed too if she was also there? It wasn't just Akaya, it was Erica too, which means both of them should have been listed on the paperwork, but both of them are not listed. It's only Akaya that's listed on the paperwork, which I thought was a little odd. However, because it's a domestic violence situation, and this has something to do with family, because we are family, whether they, want to admit that or not, we are family. In the court's eyes, in the state's eyes, in everybody's eyes, we are family. So it doesn't really matter how they feel about it. It is, facts are the facts. So, they deem this a domestic violence case, and it's been a domestic violence case from the beginning. It's not really even a criminal matter, so to speak, because there's nothing of criminal value in this entire case, really. It's just an ex-wife that aggravates her ex-husband to extreme measures. But anywho, so this document, I'm actually going to read it to you guys. It basically says here that the above named defendant, which again, as I've shared with you guys, even the name on the document is wrong. So it's like they don't even have my legal name attached to this document, which is probably why things are moving as quickly downhill as they're moving, especially for her, which probably, would piss somebody off. So it says that the above named was arrested for or charged with a crime which requires the protection of the victim/complainant as conditions of pretrial release, which is 903.1 047, and that's the Florida statute in which it's protected under the criminal law, Florida statute. The followings are additional conditions of the defendant's pretrial release. The defendant is ordered as followed: to not engage in any criminal activity, to not use or possess any illegal drugs, which I don't do drugs, so that's out. Do not use, purchase, possess, or carry firearm, gun, weapon, or ammunition. You must immediately surrender all firearms, ammunition, and whatever that says, because I can't really see it because it's blocked out. It says the defendant, which is Zakiya, defendant must stay at least 500 feet away from the complainant and the complainant's home, place of employment, school, vehicle, which she does not have, and whatever else, but they left the lines where you would add additional stuff blank, which would be funny that they didn't add extended family, like mother, sister, brothers. They didn't add any of that, which just doesn't make any sense. If she really felt like everyone was at risk, wouldn't they have at least put Erica's name on this paper too? There's a lot of mistakes here that they have done, that I guess I'm now pointing out. But anyways, it says the defendant may arrange, accompanied by law enforcement, to retrieve his or her personal clothing or personal health items, medication, personal and business related paperwork, work tools, if it is in the possession of or in the residence occupied by the complainant. The court is aware of a possible conflict between paragraph 4, which is Zakiya's name, of this order, and a prior visitation or time-sharing order, meaning the family court order. So in the criminal law, anything that's done criminally trumps civil and family court altogether. So as I'll continue to read, and you'll understand what I'm saying. The court has entered this order, which supersedes and takes precedence over any prior court order which allows contact between the parties, which again is the family court order. Either party may request a hearing before a judge in the case where visitation time-sharing order was entered to seek a modified visitation / time-sharing order which does not conflict with the no contact provisions of this order. The defendant may request the court to designate an appropriate third party to contact the complainant for the sole purpose of facilitating the defendant's contact with their children. Now, I did both of those things, and it turns out that I didn't really have to do those things. Although I talked to the assistant, the judicial assistant for the judge, for Judge Susan. She called me while I was on vacation in Daytona, and while I was up there, she called me and said that she would have to ask Zakiya for permission in order to waive the protections of the no contact, even to modify it to no harmful contact. There's different levels of no contact. There's no contact period. There's no harmful contact. There's contact in regards to children or, stuff like that. Like, there's different layers to the no contact. So basically what I was asking for in that motion was that it be modified so that I could see my son. And because he's really the innocent one in all this, he doesn't have anything to do with any of this. I know that she would like to think that he does and tries to put his name in everything and tries to claim that he was with her when all of this took place and yada yada, when in all actuality, that's not how it happened. There's no camera footage that would prove those claims. None of that. All of this was caught on camera, and I think that they know that she's lying in every statement that she makes, and that's why things are moving as quickly as they're moving in my favor, as I knew they were going to. And that's what's just making this so funny for me, because it's like, here we are again. You've done this 3 or 4 times now, and I've won every time. Every time. Every single time I have won. But yet somehow I'm the problem. I would be losing if anything that she's actually saying took place actually happened. I would for sure be losing. And it's just like, I continue to show that the truth is always on my side. And that's why I don't really care about what people's opinions are or what people are saying, because the reality of it is, if any of what she was saying was true, if it was true at all for any reason, this would not be happening this way. And so I'm going to read you the rest. And it says, this order shall remain in effect until modified or vacated by the court, which has just happened. That's why I'm making this video. This order shall cease to have effect once upon the state filing written notification that the state has declined to file criminal charges, or upon imposition of the sentence, or order of dismissal. Defendant was served with a copy of this order in open court today, or was advised of its contents by a judge at the first appearance. So when I was in jail, and I met with the, God, that's nice. When I met with the general magistrate inside the jail, basically he said, your case looks like it's getting ready to get dismissed, because there's really no evidence here, and there's no, from what we can see, all we have is camera footage, but there was no statement from you, no detective spoke to you, none of that actually happened. And so we don't know what to exactly believe, because you know, she's saying that you fled because you weren't there when the police came, but in all actuality, I'm not sure if it's really fleeing the scene when she called the cops after I had already left. So it's like, you tried to paint the picture as if I fled, when in reality, it's pick up and drop off. My only task was to drop my son off to you and leave. That's what happens. You do that and you leave. So the fact that she wanted to sit there, fight, argue, carry on, and fuss, she kind of brought this on herself, because that's not what any of us was supposed to be doing. We were supposed to just leave. I don't think, if it wasn't for the other person that was with me telling me, just like, come on, just let her stand there looking stupid. We have places to go. We have things to do. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And so I was like, just let her sit there and talk to herself. So we left. We were like, fuck this. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And the camera saw that I just walked away. Like, yeah, because I'm going to protect myself from someone who constantly attacks me, has beaten me with shoes, wire hangers, hot water, all types of things throughout our marriage. And you think that I'm going to turn my back with you in an aggressive state? You really think I'm going to do that? Knowing that she's not all the way there in the head? Yeah, I don't think so. So I was making sure that nothing was going to happen to me as soon as I walked away. And so the ending of this document says, violation of this order may be a first-degree misdemeanor, which carries a maximum punishment upon conviction of 1 year in jail, or a fine that's up to $1,000 per 741.297 of the Florida statute, and may subject the defendant to criminal contempt of court charges, or result in revocation of bond or pretrial release. So, yeah. And that was signed on the 25th of October, okay? it's now almost the end of 2025, which is probably why they're closing out this case, because what are we going to do? Go into 2026 with it still being open and ineffective? Like, it doesn't make sense. So what they did they filed this on the 18th. And when I say they, I mean, what's this man's name? Marcy Zakor? Marcy J. Zakor? I don't know. And Harold Pryor, or I don't know. The state attorney, whatever his name is, he filed this, and it basically says that the state of Florida, no, not basically, this is what it says. The state of Florida has filed with the box being blank, no pro se memorandum, which they didn't. They checked the box for no information as to the domestic violence charges in this case. Guys, they checked the box for no information. There was nothing to be found. There was no charges to be filed. Yeah. The defendant in this case is no longer on domestic violence pretrial release. The prior orders of pretrial conditions entered under Florida Statute 903047, which is what I just showed you guys here. Which, if you guys look, see if I can zoom into that statute. Where is it? 903. Do you guys see that? 903047. You guys see it? Okay. So basically, it's saying that that the prior orders of pretrial release entered under that statute in this case is or are hereby of no further force or effect. So it's not in effect anymore. So the no contact is not happening. And it says as a victim, and obviously Akaya's name is underneath that. But again, what I'm not understanding is if it was both of them and both of them were supposed to be filing charges and it's count 1 and 2, did they lump them together or did they just drop the sister's account altogether because she really isn't in it, wasn't supposed to be there to begin with? There was no reason for her to be at pickup and drop off. There's never any reason for any of her family members to be at pickup and drop off. That is between a husband and a wife or an ex-husband and an ex-wife. That is not anybody else's place to be present. The only reason I feel the need to have had someone there is because she always has somebody there and she has a tendency to lie and deceive. So it's always good to have another set of eyes there when you're dealing with someone who does nothing but lie and deceive. So I felt as if her testimony altogether should have been thrown out because basically she threw her sister under the bus saying that I was begging her to leave and she was refusing to leave. None of that needed to take place. As soon as she got our son, she should have put him in the car, which she did, and drove off. But instead, she stayed outside the car and argued with me and then lied and said that my son was standing there while we were arguing. No, he was not. He was already fastened in his car seat. So you did all of that just to come back and fight and argue with us for what? Take the child, take the diaper bag, take all the stuff that you need, put it inside the car and leave. And now, technically, I guess none of this would have happened if I would have just walked away after my son walked across the street to her. But at the same time, it's like, I normally stay until she pulls off just to make sure that my child is safe. That's just what fathers do. That's just what anybody would do. And because it's also two females that are there, you know. I just, that's the part that I'm not quite understanding is what exactly did they expect me to do in that situation? I always wait to make sure that she leaves. Like, we're talking about someone who I was married to, that's the mother of my child, that very much was the love of my life. You know, her safety still matters to me. You know, as long as she's not inflicting harm or damage to me or my personal safety, which she often tries to do. But I still wouldn't want anybody else to do anything to her, or for me to turn around and something happen to her or my son or whatever. Like, you know, that's crossing the line, because at the end of the day, we are family. And that's something that she doesn't quite understand. So it was like, whatever. So I just waited, and I should have just left. But in any case, so what they did was they decided that they were just going to drop it. And there was another document that went along with it. And as you can see in the box, it says no information. I mean, and all of this was done on the 18th. So, I take this as a win. Once again, I won again. So, it is what it is. Stay perfectly imperfect, and I'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Bye.